You're watching the Fantasy Rankings Report only on Fantasy Now Plus. Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Rankings Report. My name is Christopher Kurt, but you can call me Topher. And my co-host this week, Michael Flores, is gone. So I want to actually introduce you to the newest staff member over at Fantasy Now Plus. This is Brian. Brian, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited. This is going to be fun.
Good. I'm excited to have you here. We've become acquainted as of recent, and I really enjoy working with Brian. So this is going to be good stuff. With Brian filling in today, he will be filling in for our running back expert, Michael, and I will be focusing on the wide receivers as normal. I do want to bring up that this show is brought to you by Fantasy Now Plus and the Fins Talk Sports Network. And you should subscribe to both channels. The links are in the descriptions below. Really, you should go check it out. Our stuff at Fantasy Now Plus is wonderful. It's up to date. We have shows literally every single day of the week and then some. We're a growing company, so help us out and find stuff useful, hopefully. Okay, I'm going to start off today with our rankings question of the day. In this segment, Topher and Michael, or esteemed guest, will ask each other questions about rankings in any way, shape, or form. We can stick in our areas of expertise or talk about a different position. For the first time this season, I am coloring outside the lines, and I'm going to a different position. Typically, I have been sticking within my position of expertise. So I do want to bring this question forward. Here's a list of the top 10 tight ends according to Fantasy Pros ADP. So before the season, which of these players are in the top 10 of fantasy points per game so far this season? So how many of them are actually living up to this ADP hype? Okay, Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, George Kittle, Sam Laporta, Travis Kelce, TJ Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, Evan Ingram, David Njoku, and Tyler Warren were the 10 top drafted tight ends by ADP. So who do you think's actually in there?
That's a good one. I would say that definitely McBride. Probably Kelce. Warren for sure. Njoku probably. Laporta's right probably on that edge. I'll say Laporta.
Okay. Any others, or do you think those are the ones you're going to go with?
Those are the ones I'm going to go with. I know I almost said Hawk, but I don't think he's probably quite there.
Oh, no. Hawk is at the 22nd highest fantasy points per game. He has not been holding the tight end university name in high esteem. I do want to talk you through this right here. We have in fantasy points per game, Tyler Warren, who is ADP 10, is at tight end number 3 right now. George Kittle, even though he's been hurt, that's why I said fantasy points per game, he's at 7 right now. Trey McBride at number 8 right now, and that is it. Out of your top 10 drafted tight ends, only 3 of them are producing within the top 10 in points per game right now.
I didn't catch the points per game, but yeah, Kittle makes sense then.
So points per game, it's crazy. Laporta and Kelce are right on the outside. Bowers is a little bit on the outside, and the rest are at least 9 spots or further away on the outside. Hey, today, just like every other show, I want to show you the document that we use so you can see what we are doing? How do we come up with all this information? So right here is the Google Sheet that we use, and we take multiple different fantasy websites, CBS, Fantasy Footballers, Fantasy Now Plus, Fantasy Pros, Rotoballer, and Yahoo. We take their rankings and make one composite rank. We also look at the mode. That's just a fun one. But it's always good to see that because it can almost point you in the direction of some consistency, the highs and the lows, and then the range. So seeing right here with George Pickens and Rasheed Rice having a range of 8, that can be not as safe as a start as somebody like a Cortland Sutton, where you go, okay, the experts are really in on this guy versus varied consistency. And this week you're going to see a very strange CeeDee Lamb one, and that's because we don't know if he's going to play or not. There's hinting that he might, but there's no consistency there. We don't know. So some people are really high on him. 2 are like, yes, he's going to come back full form. The other 4 are like, we'll wait. We'll see, which I think is very fair. Okay. Our first segment that talks about these rankings is steady and safe. This is the part of the show where we each highlight 3 players in our positions of expertise that the consensus agrees upon. So we're going to talk about who do these experts agree upon? Who are they liking? I want to start off with my first one, and this is Michael Pittman of the Indianapolis Colts. He is right now wide receiver 24 in our rankings with a range of 4. Right now, we're focusing on people with smaller ranges. He has had some very good games early on this season. But if you take a look at his stats, he's slowly over the past 4 weeks declined in receptions, yardage, and last week didn't score a touchdown, and that kind of threw a wrench in how he's playing. So even though the experts are saying that, it's something to be aware of. He can be depended on as a wide receiver 3. I think the wide receiver 24 is a little too high with his downward trajectory, but the experts seem to be very happy with him right at that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 play.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think Michael Pittman's wide receiver 24. I'd probably put him closer to the lower side of that 20, 26, 28 range. But Daniel Jones does seem to do a lot better job of getting him the ball than AR did.
Yeah, I mean, I think Daniel Jones could get the ball better to anyone blindfolded than AR did.
It's very true, very true. But I mean, AR tried to, make himself go blind, so there's that.
Very well played. Very well played.
Now my first one was Cam Scatterbo. I mean, running back 16, range of 4. I think personally too low. We all saw what he's capable of, not just this last week, but if you watched him in college, he is going to run you over, and he's just going to keep coming. So as long as he doesn't, get a concussion, I think his range is a little low because he is just going to just bulldoze, and he doesn't stop. And it worked. They put a spanking on the Eagles, so why would you not really go with it again this week? Yeah, in theory he could get shut down, but I have a feeling that we're seeing the beginning of the Dart and Scatterbo season, and it's going to be fun to watch for the Giants. If you're a Giants fan, you haven't had much to look forward to, but you might finally start to have something to look forward to with Scat and Dart. And obviously when Neighbors comes back next year, that offense could be real exciting.
It really could be. I'm with you there. And he has had at least 15 rush attempts over the past 3 weeks. And that's great. That's golden for a running back, especially a rookie running back, where people were like, oh, he's right behind Tyrone Tracy right now. he's broken through that pretty darn quickly.
Yeah.
My next wide receiver I want to talk about is T. Higgins. T. Higgins right here at wide receiver 33. If you would have told me, or pretty much anyone else in the fantasy football community, that T. Higgins was at wide receiver 33 and it was a step up from the past 2 weeks, people would have been like, okay, was he hurt? What's going on? No, just Cincinnati is an eyesore right now. It's not good. And however, when he played last week with Joe Flacco, he put up his season high of 8 targets, 5 receptions, and 62 yards. All of those 3 were season high statistics. That's where we're used to seeing T. Higgins like normalcy, or that's his average right there. I think with Joe Flacco at the helm, you're going to continue to see more of this. You're going to see more of this than what you saw with Jake Browning. Whew. And against a divisional opponent, you're gonna want to impress more. So I think T. Higgins, wide receiver 33, with a range of 5. I would almost put him above Michael Pittman because they're on opposite trajectories right now. Higgins is going up, Pittman's going down.
Yeah, I absolutely could see that. I mean, you just got to wonder with Flacco. Sometimes you get good Flacco, sometimes you get bad Flacco, and
yeah,
that when you get good Flacco, I mean, obviously Higgins and Chase are going to eat. When you get bad Flacco, then it's like Jake Browning's back under center. So it's all going to come down to which Flacco shows up. I tend to think, like you said, division rival. Tomlin's comments, I think, is going to motivate a little bit too with his making fun of Andrew Berry. I mean, he complimented Flacco, but now Flacco's got to go live up to that billing, right? So
yes,
I think Higgins is likely to have a big day as well. I think the fact that the numbers you just said were his season high is just insane because he's healthy. And T. Higgins healthy, not have a 100-yard game. 5 catches is a season high. It's just. Yeah, he's due, and I could definitely see this being the week.
Yes.
So my next one was Kenneth Walker. He's running back 25 with a range of 4. And I'm a big Kenneth Walker fan. I think one of the biggest issues you have with Kenneth Walker is he's always going to get the first opportunity, but if Charbonnet, when he gets them spells, is doing good, he normally stays on the field. It's like comes more down to how good Charbonnet's playing, I've noticed with Seattle, than how good Walker's playing. Because Walker, the more he plays, the more he wears down the defense. He's a guy that needs the more reps and touches, and he's more effective. Whereas Charbonnet, if he comes in hot, they like to ride that hot hand, and then it obviously hurts Walker. So I think the range of 4 makes sense for that reason alone, just because you just don't really know if it's going to be one of them Charb days. The good news is Charbonnet doesn't normally do that. Whenever they're both healthy. It's weird how good he can be whenever Walker's hurt, but when Walker's healthy, it's like he takes a seat back. So I do think Walker running back 25, it's probably a good spot, with upside.
Yeah, I'd be worried about who they're playing this week though. They're playing Houston, and they've been one of the best defenses. They have allowed the least amount of points scored on them this year so far. And also something else, I've been seeing some stuff on Twitter all over this. In 5 full games together, Kenneth Walker has 69 touches. Nice. And Zach Charbonnet has 64. Walker has 326 yards total, and Charbonnet only has 156.
Yeah.
So even though Walker is kind of not getting the workload that he should be based off of the simple statistics like that, there's other statistics that you can go dive into, but he's doubling his counterpart in yardage. And right now he's got a 49% rush attempt share on the team, and Zach Charbonnet has a 46% rush attempt share on the team. Walker's only on the field for 42% of snaps, while Charbonnet's on the field for 55% of snaps. So there is a snap differential that is happening right there. Yeah. My third wide receiver. Again, if you're telling me that this guy's fantasy relevant in 2025, the beginning of the season, I'm going, what team is he playing for? It is Baker Mayfield's old college teammate at OU, Sterling Shepard, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, wide receiver 39. He currently has a range of 5. Now, you might be like, okay, yeah, you've got you're leaning on 4th string wide receiver right here. Yes, you are absolutely right, because he is. He's a 4th string wide receiver. Igbuka more than likely not going to be there. Mike Evans more than likely not going to be there. Chris Godwin not going to be there. Like, they are out their top 3 guys. And last week it showed, because you had Cameron Johnson, whoever that is, like, proud of him for doing what he did last week, but who is he? We don't know this guy. and then we also have Tez Johnson, who is the size of the middle schoolers that I teach, and like, is impressive that he can do what he does without being broken in half. But Sterling Shepard at wide receiver 39 is going to be the most surefire guy to get targets there. He might not get a whole lot of yardage. He's had 2 games above 50 yards, but he hasn't had more than 4 receptions in a game. So, again, wide receiver 39 is a very good play for him.
I could see it. I mean, it's so hard to know right now in Tampa. I mean, they're more injured than the 49ers, and that's saying something when it comes to their weapons. You know, not only have they lost all their receivers, Bucky Irving down. I mean, It's just, you know, it's next man up, and they're still winning. I mean, that's the most impressive part about it all.
It doesn't look like they're out.
No,
guys.
no.
So think about when you have Igbuka, Evans, and Godwin and Irving all on the field healthy together.
Oh yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Baker is showing that he is a top 10 quarterback, dare I say top 5. I mean, he, at least this year.
Yeah.
You know, he is showing that, you know, the Browns were wrong. Imagine that. And he's got the goods. So
he's currently 3rd in MVP odds according to Vegas.
Yeah, and I'm sure if they keep winning, I think that'll change. I think he becomes a front runner if they wind up being a top 2 seed in the NFC with what he's doing with less. It's incredible. You know, I mean, I know Mahomes and Josh Allen are always going to be sexy picks, and they're Mahomes and Josh Allen. But what Baker's doing is, I think, so far this year at least, second to none, and should put him in that category. But more about Sterling Shepard, I do think wide receiver 39. You're at that point. Why not? I mean, he's definitely worth the shot because he could wind up coming out wide receiver, 10 if he gets a couple big plays. And it's prime time.
Yep.
So I like that. Speaking of the same game, my third running back was David Montgomery, running back 26, range of 1. So the consensus is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Everyone puts him right in that same range. And David Montgomery this year, really every year, but this year, I think he's kind of playing at a different level because he's not as touchdown dependent on the rushes. He's doing a little bit of everything, and we haven't really seen that as much. And Gibbs is getting a lot more, rushing touchdowns than normal. I mean, they both always get them, but normally it's Montgomery's 2-to-1 ratio. This year, it's not been that way. I think Montgomery's due. I think we could see him have a 3-touchdown performance, which he's getting touchdowns in other ways, but not the rushing touchdowns like normal. So I also think he's due. He could have that goose egg because he's getting a touchdown every week, so eventually you catch up. But primetime football, the Bucs are going to score. I think he's a good play.
Yeah, especially after Dan Campbell's comments yesterday saying he would like to get David Montgomery a bigger piece of the pie, quote unquote, in the backfield. Because last week against KC, he only rushed 4 times and had 2 targets. And the week before against Cincy, rushed for 18 times. Then the week before in Cleveland, 9 times. So he's kind of being back and forth, and they want to make sure he's a more consistent part of that offense. And I think that's a really, really good guy to talk about, especially against Tampa Bay. It's gonna be a high offensive octane game. So why not start with start with the running game right there with Montgomery, help lead that, so then Gibbs in that receiving game can shine later on. I like it. Yeah. Okay. We do have a question right here. Benedict. Hello. I've got Igbuka and Purcell out. Should I trade for a wide receiver or get one off waivers? Thoughts? It depends on what kind of league it is. If it's a dynasty league, I keep Igbuka, I keep Purcell. That's pretty easy for me. I keep those things. I keep those players. They're going to be pivotal players for your dynasty league. You go wide receivers, or you go trade for one that you can play for a couple weeks, like a Sterling Shepard. You go find him, you go trade him and be like, I need this guy for a couple weeks. I would not trade either Igbuka or Pearsall, though.
Even in redraft, I think I'd hang on to both of them unless you got a player that's just a slight tier, down, So Igbuka, I'm not trading redraft dynasty. No. I'll miss a week with him and be fine,
Yes.
Pearsall, obviously probably the Michael Pittman, T. Higgins, if you get one of them, that's probably works out okay for you.
Or here's something that you could do as well, is you could see if you could package him and something else for Zay Flowers, because Zay Flowers has been underproducing right now because Lamar's out. They're on bye this week. So even if the person gets Pearsall, it's not like they're missing out anything this week either by getting Flowers. And Flowers is I'm a Zay Flowers stan through and through. So I definitely think that would be a great call. Okay, Maddie Randoms, thank you for being here. Do I drop Christian Kirk for Burden in ROS standard? Other wide receivers are Jason, Igbuka, Addison. That's a wonderful wide receiver
trio.
Yeah, I love that. I would say, yeah, Burden. I feel like Burden is now getting more of the pie. And there's a couple teams out there right now that are looking for wide receivers. Feel like DJ Moore could be one of those guys that comes out of the woodwork and goes to a different team, and that just opens up things for Luther Burden.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think Kirk's going to see his production go down the rest of the season, whereas I think Burden, we're going to see it go up. Right now, Kirk's obviously the better play, but Burden showed a couple weeks ago when he did get an opportunity that when he gets his opportunity, the guy's got the goods. So I'd make that move.
Oh, I absolutely would. Thank you. Okay, DJ Moore is hurt too, but I don't know how bad. From what I was looking at rankings, not bad enough that any of the experts were worried, because if they're worried about somebody, they normally don't rank them pretty high. He did not practice today, so that is something to keep an eye out for. But a lot of these players might not, especially with the years of experience he had. It's not like Luther Burden's hurt. DJ Moore, seasoned veteran, phenomenal player. Let's let him heal up more. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Hobby Steals. Do you guys think I should trade Rico Dowdle for BTJ? I do have Judkins, Jacobs, Bucky, and Rico as of right now. Absolutely. Rico Dowdle has been the running back one for the past 2 weeks. And once Chuba Hubbard comes back, it's going to turn more into a split. Obviously, I don't think Chuba's going to lose his job outright because he's done wonderful things. But Rico's being like, hey, let's remember what I can do. There have been 3 200-plus performances from a skill player this year. 2 of them are Rico. 1 of them is JT. You sell high on Rico Dowdle right now to get BTJ, who is now starting to come back into the ascension where he was last year, where you drafted him to be. That's my thought. I'm a big BTJ guy. I've been very hurt by him this year, as a lot of us have. But that's my thought. What do you think?
I absolutely agree. I think Rico got to play the Miami Dolphins. Let's just be real here. And then he got a revenge game against the Cowboys. So do I think Rico Dowdle is good? Yeah, I think he showed that last year in Dallas. But is he Brian Thomas Jr.? Not even on the same stratosphere. And Chuba Hubbard is practicing in a limited capacity already, so there's a good chance he plays this week. Yeah. So do you take the risk of the timeshare when you can get Brian Thomas? No, give me Brian Thomas all day.
Yeah, I'm going selling high on Rico Dowdle right now. If I can sell high on him, I've got him in one league, and you literally just gave me the idea. Go sell high on him. Plus, it's a family league. I know none of my family listens to this. And so it's a league I've been in since 2002. Yeah. So that's when I started playing fantasy. I was in 4th grade. When I started playing, my dad and uncle sat down and made me like memorize the magazine and go, okay, here's the first round. Here's the 5 players that have been picked. Who you're picking next, you need to give me 3 reasons why. Okay, give me your, running backs 10 through 20. Why? So I've been ingratiated into this. And so these people were very gung-ho about it before it became very technologically sound. So I can play them like a fiddle. I love that. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hobby Steals, appreciate you. Coach even said Rico can be running back 1 moving forward. Yes, he has, but they have also not committed to putting him as the running back, the starting running back. So, because let's see, Dave Canales said Dowdle has earned the right to help this team, and we will find a way for him to do that. But that does not sound like I'm ready to start this guy. No, that is, yes, he is Robin right now. Robin had a couple great games, but we're still trusting our Batman. Thank you.
I was going to add, I would say, if you all remember, when does Chuba play best? When he's doubted, whenever he's supposed to have someone take his job. So I'm pretty sure he's going to come back with a vengeance. So timeshare at best for the rest of the year is what I'd look for Rico to get.
Absolutely. Okay. We're going to the main part of the show right now, experts against experts. This is the part of the show where we each highlight 5 players in our positions of expertise that the consensus disagrees on. So we're seeing larger ranges right here, more than likely dipping into different tiers. Speaking of tiers, we will each be highlighting somebody ranked within each of one of our running back or wide receiver 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiers, so you can get that progression of here's starters that we should look at, 2, here's flex plays that I should be aware of when I'm on bye or injury, because there's 37,000 wide receivers that are injured right now. It's insane. I'm going to start this off with our wide receiver 1 tier, Rashee Rice. He is finally back, people. Wide receiver 10, he's got a range of 8. Highest ranking is 7. Lowest ranking is 15. Some people have been concerned if, yes, he was injured last year, coming back this year from a 6-game suspension plus an injury, is there going to be limitations? ESPN's Jeremy Fowler stated the Chiefs are going to allocate a heavy workload for Rashee Rice. With the way that the Chiefs are 3-3 right now, they have to get this guy going. In his last 9 games, Rashee Rice has had 85 targets, 67 receptions, 806 yards, and 5 touchdowns. That's incredible in the last 9 games. Mahomes right now is also at the height of his powers. Worthy has not stepped up. Like I told everybody that he wouldn't step up at the beginning of the year. He got hurt, obviously, but then his other 3 games, he hasn't he's had one good game, and the other two have not been anything special, because that's how he was last year. He was a 40 to 50 yard receiver. He was a Khalil Shakir rather than a Rashee Rice, like people wanted him to be. Plus, their opponent, the Las Vegas Raiders, are the 6th best matchup for wide receivers. So he's going to run all over that. Also, thinking about, okay, who took his spot when he was gone? Tyquan Thornton and Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. If you take their combined stats, obviously Rice will not amount to this totally, but if you take their combined stats on the year, they have 43 receptions, 574 yards, and 6 touchdowns on the season. If that's what Rashee Rice can come in and get over the next 6 weeks, 40 receptions, 500 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Yeah. This week, he's at wide receiver 10. I think I have him at my wide receiver 4 or wide receiver 5 this week overall. I think that he's just phenomenal. He's going to help this struggling Chiefs offense. He's what they want to design their offense around.
Yeah, no, I like Rashee Rice a lot. I don't like your Worthy take. I like Worthy a lot too, but that's the fun part is we don't have to agree. I think Worthy getting
that's the first time we haven't agreed today.
I know. I think Worthy getting hurt by Kelsey definitely has affected him more. Like they talked about, he might need surgery, and I think they're kind of keeping him out there unhealthy just because of their weapon situation.
Yeah.
Having said that, I don't think that hurts Rice because again, Worthy's not healthy. We'll go with healthy. I'm not going to say stepping up. But I do think Rice will produce, and I think he'll produce relatively quickly. You do worry a little bit that first game back, 6 weeks, they're not allowed to practice, they say. Who knows what they're actually doing, right? It is not like he's a rookie, so he's got experience with Mahomes. I think he's going to fit right in. I do see Tyquan Thornton definitely his role kind of going away for the most part. But even if Rice just is putting up the numbers Thornton's done most weeks, so you're going to be happy. Obviously, that's not his tier, but Rice is much, much better than Thornton. Thornton couldn't stick with the Patriots, who have struggled to have receivers worthwhile, so he was a needed piece, and now you get a premier receiver to replace him. I agree. I think Rice definitely finishes inside the top 10 this week at wide receiver.
Awesome.
Now, my first one is tier 1 running back was Quishon Judkins. He's running back 8, but he's got a range of 9, 5 to 14. To me, that's just kind of crazy. He's been a workhorse really since he got the chance. We watched him basically from the very first game take all the carries, and they didn't care that they had 2 other running backs that were capable. It was like, all right, we're just going to feed the guy. In 3 of those games, he's had 18 carries plus all the way up to 23. So he is getting the volume. The only thing that hurts him, he's only got 2 touchdowns on the year. That's not ideal. You're not getting the TDs yet. But guys, he's playing Miami. If he's not running back 5 this week against Miami, we saw what they made Dowdle, who we already talked about, and Vidal look like the last 2 weeks. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. That rush defense is Swiss cheese. The linebackers lead the league in tackles, not because there's elite tacklers. It's because the defensive line, everyone gets to that next level because they're just not doing their job. And I'm also an Ohio State fan. So Judkins, I watched the guy. That guy, when he gets after that first hit, good luck. He's just a guy that's going to keep going. So I really would not be surprised if he's running back 1 this week. Against Miami, I think he's just going to dominate them. The one thing I would say is he's not getting a lot of catches, so he's not getting PPR, but I don't think that matters for him this week because he's just going to run all over Miami.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love his talent. I agree. There's nothing stopping the running game in Miami. They are just they're a platinum gold card of, yes, my running back is going to kick your butt no matter how good or how bad my team is. they're just going to stomp you. Yeah, I think he's a great pick to talk about. We do have a question right here from Sean. Do I start Kittle or Dowdle in my flex spot? He does say I have Tyler Warren in my tight end spot. I think it depends on if Kittle is actually playing and is he up? Like, is he fully ready to go? Limited in his return to practice. Something you do have to be aware of is that Atlanta is devastating to the tight end. I want to say that they are averaging 2 receptions and 17 yards per game to the tight end this season. That's insanely low. And yes, George Kittle is somebody that can outdo that. He's a generational talent at the tight end position, but coming off of an injury, I'm not totally sure. I would start Dowdle. I love me some George Kittle. I'm from Iowa. I grew up an hour, 15 minutes north of Iowa City. I'm a Hawkeye fan for life. I think the smarter thing would be to start Rico, unless if we hear like Rico's just not going to play very much at all. That's where I'm at. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this one's almost a Sunday decision. You need to know 2 things. How much is Kittle going to practice? Does he log a full practice? And same thing with Chuba. If Chuba's limited all week and Kittle's limited all week, I think it's an easy decision. You start Dowdle. It is that stat you said, though, I do got to add. Now we understand why Kyle Pitts is so bad. He's just trying to do what his defense allows. But I would definitely lean Dowdle unless those 2 things happen. If Kittle gets full practice and Chuba gets full practice on Friday, then I'd probably go Kittle. But otherwise, I'm going Dowdle.
I like that. That's definitely a Sunday thought. I like that. Good. Wide receiver 2 tier for me is Jalen Waddle. He's wide receiver 13. I tend to stray away from the wide receivers that are up at the top of the tier 1 and tier 2 because more than likely those guys are going to be starting for you. But the range of 10 really threw me. He's got a range of 10, but it's a good thing. He's at wide receiver 8 to wide receiver 18. So some people are like, yes, he needs to be a starting wide receiver 1 for your team. And this is from Twitter. This is the user handle FSSOSEQ fantasy start sit and something or else. Something. Since Tyreek Hill went down, Waddle is averaging 8.5 targets, 6 receptions, 102.5 yards, and half a touchdown per game. The Browns have gone back-to-back games, allowing a wide receiver to get at least 9 targets and 95 yards. On top of that, at least 19 points per game. It didn't say if it was PPR, standard half-point PPR, but 19 points, no matter what the format from your wide receiver, is happening back-to-back weeks. And Jalen Waddle has been putting up that plus more each week. Over the past 2 weeks, he has had 2 plays over 45 yards, and he's had the first read in the offense 36.5% of the time. He's also got a 27% target share and 51% of the team's air yards. Wow. Every time Tua's throwing the ball, every half yard, for every yard he throws, every half yard is going to Jalen Waddle. Like, he's just relying on him and Achane and Waller, but Waddle's the main guy. I tend to look up stats and see what other people put together on Twitter before I do my stuff here. Crazy thing, I couldn't find a lot about Jalen Waddle because the Giants are in mega hunt mode for a wide receiver right now. Found this out today. And Jalen Waddle is one of the names that they are saying we want to trade for him. This isn't just like a one-off. I was like, oh, okay. No, Underdog Fantasy was tweeting about it and other reputable sources where I'm like, oh, and it wouldn't make any sense for Miami to trade him, but we've seen stranger things happen in the NFL. But this week, he should stay in Miami, and you should be very confident in starting him.
I agree with pretty much everything you said there. I am a Dolphins fan. I watch, unfortunately, every Dolphins game this season. Matter of fact, when we took the lead, I messaged my buddies, yeah, well, watch this next minute. We're going to lose. I knew it. It's just, you just know what's going to happen. That defense can't stop. And Tua, as much as, people want to hate him, he's playing great. He just needs to not talk so bad in the media, but he's playing great ball without Tyreek Hill. That's never something that we've been able to say. When Tyreek's been down, Tua has not stepped up, and Waddle hasn't either. Waddle has always had these gimmicky plays where he gets hurt and he'll miss time. And he's on another level right now. When you watch Waddle, he's always had the talent. He's staying healthy. Tua's got no one else that he trusts. I mean, when he throws to a chain, he's throwing him a little swing pass. That's not going to do much unless a chain, breaks it. When he's throwing it to Waller, it's almost always when it's in the red zone. So every other play, guys, he's looking at Waddle, and
yes.
I agree with you. It's an easy play this week. The Browns, makes it even easier. I will say the trade stuff, under normal circumstances, I would say get out of here, but Grier's got to do something. And 25 years of being with the team, and there's every time that he gets on the ready to fire thing, he decides, let's do a new tear down so I can buy myself more time. So I could see him making trades and trying to do a new rebuild and thinking he gets to do it. And, I would hope that that's not the case, but probably will be.
I could see that.
Yeah. All right. So my running back tier was Rachaad White, running back 14. He had a range of 9. A little surprised of the range, 7 to 16. Sorry, I have puppies in this room, guys.
Oh, darn. Puppies, yeah. The worst.
And then last 2 games of he was RB7 and RB10. Like, that's pretty good. The only thing that he's, got hurting him would be he's only had, 7 catches. He has been a pass catching threat his whole career.
Mm-hmm.
And they're losing weapons left and right for Baker to throw to.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand he's going to get the volume at the, carries, but I could absolutely see him having on catches alone, a 5 or 6 catch game this week. And the Lions are middle of the pack in rush defense, but they've given up 5 rushing touchdowns, which is near the top. Might have been the top. Now I think it was the number 1 most rush TDs given up this year. So he's going to have plenty of opportunities, and it's prime time. The players show up on prime time. Baker's going to show up. Goff's going to show up. Well, probably Goff's going to show up.
I would hope the players show up. Like if they don't arrive to the game, like come on.
Yeah, but I really like White this week. I would put him more in that upper echelon running back. Probably 5 or 6.
Oh, absolutely. I'm with you. I think him having a range of 9 shows you that some people aren't trusting what he can do, even though he's proven to be a valuable fantasy asset anytime that he's a starting back. Like, yes, I like all of it. Yeah, we've got a question here from Jonathan. Is Trey Tucker worth a pickup with possibility of Myers trade? He's somebody else that's been talked about, along with Chris Olave. There's somebody else that there were like 4 main people that have been talked about: Waddle, Olave, Myers. I think you have bench positions for a reason. And yes, you need them for bye weeks and for injuries. But you also need to have players that you can go, hey, this guy might break out. This guy, I need to hold on to him. What are your thoughts?
I'm a little surprised he's available. Yeah. Most leagues he's probably picked up already. I have several shares of Trey Tucker and for just what you said, injuries for one, he's a good person to have for that. But then I drafted some of them and picked a lot of them up early with the Myers stuff going on out there, especially when Cooper retired. I was like, well, Trey Tucker, this could be a nice stash. So I'm high on him as a guy that you want to have on your roster. Probably not starting him right now, but yeah, I would definitely get him if you can.
Yeah, and over the past 3 weeks after his breakout game, his targets, his targets didn't go up each week, but his receptions, his yards per target have all gone up each week. And he's only had 1 week under a 90% snap share, which was 88%. You want that kind of guy out there. Somebody that's seeing the field 90% of the time. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to wide receiver 3, Wan'Dale Robinson, wide receiver 30. Controversial name right here, just because we don't know what he's going to do from week to week. He's got a range of 12 from 19. Wow. Yeah, from 19 to 31. And this is why I love doing this. This is why I'm like, yes, we need to. This is how this all started. Because I was seeing the fantasy footballers were posting, here are our rankings. And then I would see fantasy pros have their rankings. And I'm like, how are we supposed to trust? I was just looking at quarterbacks, and I remember seeing Tom Brady rankings at Tampa Bay being like, they were like 10, 12 spots apart before the draft. And I was like, that's rounds. Yeah. That's rounds apart. So this is why this is important, because this is from somebody that could be a wide receiver 2 for you to a flex consideration or a wide receiver 3. He's currently wide receiver 23 in 0.5 PPR. He's a wide receiver 2. Nobody's talking about this. Last year, I brought this up as well. Last year, he was wide receiver 41 in PPR. Nobody talked about that. He was top 10 in targets last year in the league. He is a good player. He's not going to give you many phenomenal weeks. He will be a lower producing guy, but he can give you some consistent stuff. He's also this year, in just 6 weeks, he has over half of his total yardage from last year and almost matched his touchdown total from last year. He had 3 touchdowns last year. He's got 2 so far. His yards per target and yards per catch are his career best. Right now, he's not the target monster he was last year, but they have a run game. They're finally able to do other things and dart runs too. So that takes away some of that, because you have a dual threat quarterback and a running back that will run into a brick wall consistently because he thinks it's fun. Okay?
He really does.
Yes. He also is 9th best wide receiver in the league for yards after catch, which is a great stat. As a Packers fan, I remember when the Packers on their Super Bowl run were yak monsters, and I've loved the yak stat ever since then. But he's ahead of JSN, Igbuka, Justin Jefferson, and Stephon Diggs in yards after catch, all who have more receiving yards than him. So he is making plays with it. He also is the 21st highest wide receiver target share in the league. He's got a higher target share than Jalen Waddle, George Pickens, and Cortland Sutton. So he is getting the targets. He's creating the yak. He's not going to be a fancy diva. He's not going to go win you games, but he's going to be somebody that consistently you can go, hey, I know he will score me points. It is a very rare week where he does not score you something that you are happy about.
No, I'm a big Wan'Dale fan this year. I've got quite a few shares of him myself. Had some neighbor shares too, which making my Wan'Dale shares a little better now, right? But
yes.
But definitely kind of dove into a lot of what you talked about. When I looked at his numbers last year, he was sneaky good last year, and no one talked about it. And like in drafts, a lot of times he wasn't even getting drafted. and there's no reason that he shouldn't have been based on just what he did last year without a competent quarterback, and we knew that Russell might not be, but we also knew they had Jameis and we knew they, had Dart. So odds are he was going to get someone to get him the ball. And, I think we're seeing that. And wide receiver 30 is the consensus. I do think that's kind of funny when the range is 19 to 31. So many people had him in that higher range clearly, which is a little funny to me, but I do think, wide receiver 30 is probably low. I mean, Dart has to throw the ball to somebody, and whenever Wan'Dale's, on the field, that's his preferred target right now. So I like him a lot.
So let me ask you this: would you start Wan'Dale or Kendrick Bourne?
We expecting Mac Jones back this week?
Yes.
Or we expecting Brock Purdy?
Let's go with Mac Jones.
If it's Mac, I think you got to go Bourne because they got the chemistry. If it's Brock, you go Wan'Dale.
What about Devonta Smith or Robinson?
I'm going Robinson, and not because he's better than Devonta, but I do think that we're going to see the Eagles after 2 straight losses, after the complaining of the receivers, going back to what got them their first 3 wins of Saquon and Hurts running it down their throats. I do think we're going to see that because it's that formula works for them. So yeah, I think Wan'Dale I would start over Smith this week.
What about Jordan Addison?
Wan'Dale.
Really?
Yeah, because JJ's probably back. So.
Oh, that's true.
I thought for a minute because I was like, well, McCarthy.
What about Romeo Doubs?
I'm starting Dobbs.
Yep. What about Jamison Williams?
Wan'Dale. I think he's more consistent.
Okay. So those are the 5 receivers that are above him in the wide receiver 3 tier. So when you're saying he's a little too low, I was like, well, let's see if you mean that or not.
Yeah, I do.
yeah, you do.
All right. And in my running back 3 tier, Travion Henderson, running back 29, but a range of 10, which pretty big range. Shows some people obviously expect that the breakout's coming, and other people think that it's never coming. So last week he had a season low snap percentage, 30% against New Orleans, which would be a team you'd think he'd be on the field more for. Only 1 game above 10 carries and only 1 game above 3 receptions. Now, having said all that, here's the big one. He's got Tennessee this week. It's a good matchup. And it's not just that they give up a lot of yards. They've given up a league high 4 rushes of 40-plus yards. If there's a breakout game coming, it's this one. Wow. He's explosive, and he's going against a team that gives up the long run. Talent's there. I really think, we'll see it. And then on top of all that, even though Stevenson got the bulk share last week, he had 13 carries for 18 yards. And the week before that, 7 for 14. There's a point where you go to the rook and give him the shot. And I think this is the week we're going to see that, because the fact that they give up the long run in the last 2 weeks, Stevenson's been about as bad as you can be running the ball. So for me, I put him more in the running back 20 range actually.
Oh yeah, I've got him still at that kind of that mid, that kind of like running back 2, running back 3 tier flip right there. Just not because of him, because of the coaching staff. Yeah. Because Stevenson's been dropping the ball. He's not gaining yards, and they're still going to him. But they're also winning games. They're not gonna unless if something crazy happens and Travion makes something happen, which right now he's also not making stuff happen. If he actually makes things happen, then he can break out. You've seen Scatabo do it. You've seen Bill Clinton, Krosky, Merritt, Alexander III break out. You've seen all these things. Travion just hasn't. Okay, we've got 5 minutes left here. So for our next ones, just make it quick bullet round right here. Wide receiver 4 tier. I want to talk about Troy Franklin of the Denver Broncos. He's wide receiver 43. He's got a range of 13. His highest ranking is 36. His lowest is 49. His snap percentage peaked at week 2 and 3, and then it's lowered by 40%. He only has 2 games above 50 yards and has 1 touchdown. He surpassed his projected points in weeks 1 and 2 and underwhelmed in every week. His week 1 projection was 4.92. So hopefully you're gonna pass that.
Yeah.
And every projection has increased from there. He's got a 18% target share on the team, second highest of the team, and he's got 24% of the team's air yards. They've got a lot of different options that they've been thrown around to down there, and he still has a quarter of the team's air yards. He's got the second highest snap percentage for skill players at only 64%. That's the second highest on Denver's offense.
Wow.
64%. They're not playing anybody consistently besides Cortland Sutton. That is 108th at the skill position out of running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers in the league. He's 108th in snap percentage. That's the same as Isaiah Likely, and he's just above reputable names like Jordan Whittington, Diami Brown, and Jahan Dotson.
Wow.
Here's the redeeming factor, though. They are playing the third best wide receiver matchup according to Yahoo with facing the New York Giants. And the Broncos need a redemption after the New York Jets game overseas last week because that was rough. That was whew. And so they've got a chance. Troy Franklin is somebody that can come out and give you a burst game. This is a week that I trust him to give you that more than he would other weeks.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know we got to be quick, so I would say he's probably, of the Denver receivers not named Cortland Sutton, the one you want to play when you have to play one. And if there's a week, like you said, you got the Giants, I do think that there's going to be some points scored there, hopefully, because they can't do London again. So yeah, I think he's a good wide receiver 4 tier, right where he should be. But yeah, I agree with you. I like it. My running back 4 tier was Michael Carter, running back 38 with a range of 9, 32 to 41. He's had 2 straight games, being in a split, but still producing. And he also had 5 targets in both games. Only had 2 catches in one, but 5 in the other. So he has high PPR upside, even in a split. I think Bam Knight will be a factor because he did have 11 carries and a touchdown last week. The big question for him is, will Demi Ricardo get out of the doghouse? He had 1 carry last week. He was barely on the field. He dropped that ball, cost him the game in many ways. So if he gets out of the doghouse, I think we see Michael Carter take a dip, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if it doesn't matter anyway, because they're playing your Packers, who have the top rush defense. They've only given up 365 yards on the ground through 5 games. So when it's all said and done, I would avoid Michael Carter. I do think that, the range of 9, I understand it, but of the Cardinal running backs, I would play him if I had to pick one.
Yeah, I would avoid it, just not because I'm a Packers fan. From a fantasy standpoint, unless if you're a juggernaut running back, you're not going to do much against this Packers rush defense. And Arizona is not a juggernaut team. This is a team that they're going to have to play from behind against the Packers, unless the Packers try and beat themselves again like they did in Cleveland or tie themselves like they did in Dallas.
Isn't it amazing Dallas traded, to get Kenneth Grant, that big trade, to help that run defense?
You mean Kenny Clark?
Kenny Clark, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, Kenny Grant, he's the bust for Miami so far. Sorry.
Yes, exactly. Lovely. I'm sure it's your favorite thing to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, wide receiver 5 tier, Alec Pierce, wide receiver 52 of the Indianapolis Colts. He's got a range of 17 from 48 to 65. He's had 65 plus yards in 2 of the 4 games he's played this year. Last season, he had 7 touchdowns. This year, he has none. He also leads the team in air yardage, as we've talked about with a couple of receivers before, 35%. And he's got a 40% end zone target share, much higher than any other receiver or tight end on that team. He is due for a touchdown. He's got a 77% snap share, which is better than what we were seeing with Troy Franklin, who's ranked 9 spots above him. And he's got the 4th most targets on the team with 15% target share. I think that Alec Pierce is a great flex play. He was a stunner last year with having right around 800 yards and 7 touchdowns. And he's been injured the past couple weeks. He's coming back. Reggie White, wide receivers coach, has been all about him, hyping him up, saying this kid works his butt off. We love this kid. He's grown so much in their 4 years there. They want to get him more involved.
Thank you for saying Reggie White, not Wayne. So we both made a boo boo.
Did I say
Reggie White, wide receivers coach? you were just helping me out for mine.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta help out.
Yeah. No, I think his range is low, and I don't know if when you did this, you saw the news with Mr. Downs with a concussion.
Yep.
Today, so likely not playing. So I think that's going to make Alec Pierce that much better, and I would absolutely start him above your wide receiver 4, Troy Franklin. Not above Wandell, but I think he's closer to Wandell than Troy this week as far as where I'd put him. So I do think a wide receiver 52 is way too low, and I think he should break out. I agree with you. My last one I was going to talk about, it's kind of funny, which we're running short on time, was Carolina. I wanted to kind of talk about, what that backfield is going to look like, with Dowdle looking more like running back 1 and Hubbard due back. And we kind of already talked a little bit about that earlier. So,
yeah.
I think that Dowdle will be a split. And I think once Hubbard's healthy, though, it's going to be his job again, personally. I just think Hubbard's shown it time and time again that he's the man.
I definitely agree with you right there. Okay, Brian, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Where can people find you?
Well, I'm on X, formerly Twitter, as DanMan2133. I'm also on Blue Sky. My handle's supposed to be getting changed soon to the Fantasy Now Plus, so I don't know what the handle will be, but right now it's Brian, not Miracle, at bluesky.com, I believe is how they do it on there. It's real long, And then, I'm going to be doing more and more on the Fantasy Now Plus platform, as we get ramped up here. So hopefully you see me more on these podcasts as well. And, doing these shows are a lot of fun and definitely enjoy them. Good.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun having you here and hearing the little puppies in the background.
I know. I had a headset and it quit working right as I came into the studio. I was like, well, I guess I'm without that. So I tried to help with the background noise. I thought I chose the perfect location because they're not going to be that loud, but then they're with the headset. So
you know what? My dogs tend to have entrances in this podcast, 2 in this show, where whenever my husband comes home, they just are all barking. I've got 2 corgis and a German Shepherd, all loud breeds. So,
yeah. Well, the puppies are German Shepherd puppies. Mom in there with her 8 pups. So they were just born. What's today? Wednesday. So like 4 days ago. So they're,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're very vocal to an extent, but they're not too bad yet. In about 2 weeks, and they're going to be barking a lot. So at least right now, that's all we got.
Yes, that's fair. Okay. Well, again, you can find. Oh, I forgot to say, you can find me at Topher K44 on Twitter, X, Blue Sky, Venmo. You can send me money, whatever works. Thank you so much for ingesting this however you are, whether it's in the car, whether you're watching this live. whether you're listening to this somewhere at home and you don't want to be listening to it, but your spouse or friend is playing it for you. Thank you for still being a part of it. And we will catch you next week on the Fantasy Rankings Report. Deuces.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.